Hello and welcome back. Yes, this is class number 4 of o seu clique no inglês. Say, well, today we're going to have this very special class that is going to help you a lot in the future. Yes, we're going to find out why some verbs have the ing form, the continuous form, and some verbs don't have the ing form. And we're going to look at some mistakes. Yes, some interesting mistakes. Okay? So let's see. First of all, let's remember, right? The present continuous. The present continuous is the verb tense that we produce, that we make using the verb, the auxiliary verb be, right? Like I am, we are, you are, etc. And the verb, the principal verb, the main verb in the ing. And it's about temporary or temporary actions, right? Or things, actions that are happening now, right? For example, now I'm teaching, I'm speaking, I am pointing at this plus sign, right? I am thinking about my life at the moment, right? It's a temporary action, so it's okay. I use the present continuous, right? Verb be plus the verb in the ing. Yes, so let's compare. Two examples, right? I love it and I'm loving it. And I'm going to tell you that only one of them is correct. This is the moment that you stop and you start thinking in Portuguese, right? To find the answer. So you go like, eu amo isso. Eu amo ele. Eu estou amando isso. Estou amando ele. In Portuguese, I can say both, right? I can say eu amo, estou amando. But and in English, can I say I love it? And can I say I'm loving it? So I prepared for you a special help. McDonald's, yes, McDonald's logo, the famous logo that makes you hungry just by looking at it. And I'm loving it. Okay, things to pay attention. Number one, they use I here, right? The lowercase I, but this is not grammatically correct, right? So every time you say I in English, you write it with a capital I, the big I, okay? Another thing, right? Usually, when you have the apostrophe in English, it's because there is a word that, there is a letter that is not there, okay? In this case, it's the G in loving, okay? I'm loving it is the way they say it, and sometimes they write it like this, right? So, McDonald's is telling you, I'm loving it. So which one is right? Don't know? Well. Surprise! The right one is I love it. Yes, but why? Because love is a verb of state. Some people, some grammarians, some books call it a stative verb. I chose to use state and action because it's easier, okay? But you also find stative and dynamic verbs. These verbs, the verbs of state, like love, they have no ing, they have no continuous form. Okay? I don't know if you paid attention, but now you can go back and watch again. But in class 2 and class 3, when we saw the present perfect simple and the present perfect continuous. In the first two situations, I said actions and states that happened in the past, right? Experiences, they happen in the past, but we don't know exactly when, right? The experience is one. In the second situation, I said action and state that happened many times in the past, right? Many times, 8 times, etc. And in the third one, the recent, I only write action. So they don't have the ing. They don't have the continuous form. So McDonald's is wrong. Grammatically speaking, yes. Right? Grammatically speaking. I'm not telling you that people don't use that. They do. If people didn't use that, McDonald's wouldn't use it as a logo, as a motto, right? And you can see it in songs. Yes, you can see it many times in songs. The ing used in verbs of state. It's because people speak like that. But not everything that people say is right. Right? Not everything they say is right. But how do I know, Tamara? How do I know when to use the ing and when not to use the ing? You have lists of state verbs and action verbs. No, state verbs. Action verbs are the majority, so if the verbs are not in the lists of state verbs, then they are action verbs, right? So you have to concentrate on the list of state verbs. I have included one, right, as part of this lesson with the most common, the most frequent verbs of state. There are verbs like love that we saw, like, right? I'm liking is not possible. She's been liking it, no, okay? She's been understanding more now. If you translate it, you probably will see that in Portuguese ela tem está entendendo mais, but in English, I'm sorry, understand is a verb of state and there is no understanding as the ing of verbs. I am not understanding more. Okay, this is incorrect. There are verbs that you have two possibilities. Okay, like the verb see. If you use the verb see as a verb of perception, my capacity to see, right, then you don't have the ing. I see this, I can see that, but there is no I am seeing it. On the other hand, if you use see as meet, like I'm seeing my doctor, then it becomes a verb of action. Then with this idea, the idea of meet, see has the ing, but not as the idea of my capacity to see. Okay? Another verb, very similar to see, taste. Taste as I am expressing, oh, it tastes great. This soup tastes great. I cannot say this soup is tasting great. Okay, there is no ing in this idea. So taste in this sense, it is a verb of state. But taste as the action to get some of the soup and taste it to see if the taste is okay, if there is salt, if there is pepper, if there is enough pepper, enough salt to see if it tastes good, then I am tasting the soup. In this case, it's an action, so you have the ing form. And finally, think, right? If I am expressing my opinion about something like I think it's right, I think it's wrong, I think it's a good idea, in this one, think is a verb of state, no ing. But if I ask you, so what do you think about the project? Wait, I'm still thinking about it. Like I'm analyzing it. This is an action, right? So think about the process of thinking is a verb of action you can use in the ing. But think like expressing an opinion is a verb of state and there is no ing. Okay? This is very important, right? For you to identify the verbs that you can use in the continuous forms or not, right? And it helps tremendously when you are doing exercises about this. It's not easy to find in grammar books, in grammar exercise books, or in grammar exercise applications, a specific chapter, unit about verbs of state versus verbs of action. What you usually see is that every time they introduce the ing of a certain verb tense, like present, simple, and then present continuous, every time they introduce the present continuous and the past continuous and the present perfect continuous, they contrast the continuous form with the simple form. And this is where you find examples of exercises that include verbs of state. Okay, so try to look for these lessons, these exercises contrasting the ing and the simple forms of verbs, and you will find some practice for that. Okay, good luck, enjoy yourselves, and I'll see you in class 5, right? In class 5, we're going to see auxiliary verbs. Okay? Bye-bye.